Simple interest. All right. So to find the simple interest, it's a principal times the rate times the time. All right. So let's write that down. The interest is equal to the principal times the rate times the time, and that is all being divided by 100. This is how we find interest. All right. That's how we find interest. Principal times rate times time divided by 100. Now, what is the principal? The principal right there is 1,000. So it is 1,000 times the rate. The rate is 2.5%. That is the rate, 2.5%. 2.5% as a decimal is 2.5 over 100. So it's 2.5 times the time. The time is 1. And this is all being divided by 100. So all you have to do is put this in your calculator, and that will give you the interest. So 1,000 times 2.5 times 1 divided by 100, that's $25. So the interest, so in this first example, the interest is equal to $25. Now let's do the second one. Principal is 1,000. The rate is 5% per annum for 1 year. So now, again, the interest is equal to the principal times the rate times the time, and this is all divided by 100. All being divided by 100. So of course, we're just gonna work this out now. Our principal is 1,000 times our rate of 5% times 1, and this is all being divided by 100. This is all being divided by 100. So that's all we have to do. So we do that, and what we get is 1,000 times 5 times 1 divided by 100, which is $50. That is 50. All right. So the interest that works out to be, interest is $50. It's equal to $50. Now let's look at this one right here now. This question says the principal is $1,000. The rate is 2.5 for 2 years. So again, you just do the same thing. The interest is equal to the principal of 1,000 times the rate of 2.5 times 2 years, and this is all divided by 100. This is all divided by 100. So what we end up get is, this works out to be equal to 1,000 times 2.5 times 2 divided by 100, which is $50. So that is the interest. So the interest is $50. Nice and easy. Next question. Part D. Part D says the principal is $2,000, the rate is 2.5, and it's 1 year. So the time is 1 year. So again, the interest is going to be equal to the principal times the rate of 2.5 times the number of years of 1. And this is all being divided by 100. And so what we end up get is, you put that in your calculator. This is equal to $50 again. All right. So in this case, the interest is $50. Easy. Let's look at part E right here. Part E says, what happens? Let's look at part E. Part E says, what happens to the amount of interest earned when the principal and the term stay the same, but the rates is double? What happened? So let's look at what happened. So remember, interest is equal to principal times rate times time divided by 100. All right, interest equal principal times rate times time. So let's call this interest 1. This is interest 1. All right, let's call that interest 1. Now, what if interest 2, they say that the rate is doubled. So interest 2. If the rate is doubled, then interest 2 is going to be principal times a rate of 2R. It's no longer going to just be R. So if the rate is doubled, look at this. So the interest 2 is going to be principal P times a rate of 2 times R times the time of T divided by 100. This is then divided by 100. So what happened right there? But look at this now, look at this, look at this. Now interest 2 works out to be, this would work out to be 2 times P times R times T over 100. But guess what? 2P times R times T over 100 is interest 1. This formula right here is I1. So that means that I2 works out to be equal to 2 times, I2 works out to be equal to 2 times I1. I2 works out to be equal to 2 times I1. What does that mean? That means that if the rate is doubled, then the interest is doubled. So if the rate is doubled and the principal remains the same and the time, then the interest is doubled. The simple interest is doubled. Easy, soft. We did an example like that above. Let's look at it right here. Look at this. Look at this question right here. Look at this one. Look at number 1. Right here, the rate was 2.5. And then when we double the rate to 5%, what happened? The interest went from 25 to 50. So when the rate is doubled, as we can see right here, the interest is doubled if you keep the principal and the time the same. Easy, that's all we're saying. All right, let's look at this now. This question says, what happens to the amount of interest earned if the principal and the rate stay the same, but the term doubles? So if the time doubles, what happened? What happened if the time double? So let's call it I1 and I2 again. So I1 is equal to the principal times the rate times the time. Let's look at I2, or all over 100. Now let's look at I2. I2, the time is doubled. So I2 is equal to the same principal remain the same P, times the rate of R times the time of 2T. It's now 2T. And this is divided by 100. Now look at this now. So I2 works out to be, this can be written as 2 times P 2 times P times R times T divided by 100. But guess what? This part right here, if we put it in bracket, the P R T over 100 is I1. So this is 2 times I1. This is 2 times I1. So what does that mean? That means that if the time is doubled, then the interest is also doubled. So if the time is doubled, then the interest is doubled. Then the interest double. Clearly the interest double. That's what we saw. If the time is double, the interest doubles. All right, let's look at question 3. Question 3 says, how much money would you have after 10 years if you have deposited $1,000 at a rate of 4.5 simple interest per annum? How much money would you have after 10 years if you deposited $1,000 at a rate of 4.5% simple interest per annum? So right here, the principal amount is 1,000. And it tells us your rate is 4.5 and the time T is 10. All right, how much money would you have? Well, first thing is that we need to find how much interest you make. So your interest is going to be equal to principal 1,000 times your rate 4.5 times the time of 10 years, and then you divide this, of course, by 100. And so when you work that out, that is going to give you the interest for 10 years. So 1,000 times 4.5 times 10 divided by 100, that is $450. But guess what? That is the interest you make after 10 years. So this is the interest made after 10 years. So if this is the interest made, then that means the total amount of money you would have, total amount is equal to the amount of money you have is your $1,000 that you deposited plus the profit where you make your interest, your $450. So the amount of money you have after 10 years is $1,450. That's your total amount after 10 years. Easy, soft. Let's look at this right here now. It says, use a simple interest formula to solve the following problem. It says, if the interest earned on a deposit is $50 and the interest rate is 3% per annum invested for 2 years, what is the principal? So this is what you would write down. You want to find the principal. The principal, we don't know. Let's put a question mark. The interest, we know. The interest is $50. What else do we know? So we know the principal, we don't know the principal, we know the interest. The time, T, is 2 years. And what else do we know? The rate, they give us the rate is 3%. So we're good because they give us all of these beautiful stuff. All right. So now we know that interest is equal to principal times rate times time divided by 100. Interest is equal to principal. Interest is equal to principal times rate times time divided by 100. So what I want you to do is, once you have this formula written down, what you're going to do is substitute what is given. So the interest of $50 is equal to principal, we don't know, let's call it P, times the rate of 3 times time of 2 years, and this is all being divided by 100. So now we're going to simplify this some more. So what we're going to get is 50 is equal to 2 times 3 is 6. So we get 6p divided by 100. That's 6p divided by 100. And so what you're going to do is cross multiply now and make p the subject. So that means that 50 multiplied by 100 is equal to 6p. And so if I divide both sides by 6, then that means 50. Let's just divide both sides by 6 here. If we divide both sides by 6, that will give us p. So there's 6 cancel. So you put that in your calculator. 50 times 100 divided by 6. So the principal works out to be 50 times 100 divided by 6. 50 times 100 divided by 6. And so initially, it's $833.33 was the principal. $833.33 was initially invested for 2 years at 3%. Nice. So that was the principal. Let's look at another question right here. Part B says, how many months does it take to earn $180 interest on an investment if the principal is $5,000 and the interest is 2%? So write down what is given. The interest we want to make is $180. We don't know how long it's going to take us to make that amount of money. But what we do know is that our principal is $5,000. And we know that the rate R is 2%. So let us do that now. So first thing, we know that our interest is equal to principal times rate times time. And of course, this is being wonderfully divided by 100. This is what we do know. So what we are going to do now is substitute what we know in this equation. And so what that means is the interest of $180 is equal to your principal, which is 5,000, times your rate of 2, times your time of t, and that is being divided by 100. This is being divided by 100. So what we end up get is, let's divide it by 100. What we end up get is 5,000 times 2. 5,000 times 2 is 10,000. So this works out now to be 180 is equal to 10,000 times t, and that 10,000 t is being divided by 100. So now all we need to do is divide 10,000 by 100. So dividing 10,000 by 100, so what we get is 180 is equal to 10,000 divided by 100 is 100. So we get 100t. And so now to make t the subject, we just divide both sides by 100. We divide both sides by 100. So that will give us the time in years. Remember, this is time in years. And so what we get now is t is equal to 180 divided by 100, which is 180 divided by 100. 180 divided by 100 is 1.8. So the time is equal to 1.8 years. It's going to take 1.8 years to get 180% interest of $5,000. 1.8 years. All right, some people might say 1.8 years, and you can, if you want to write it better, we know that in terms of months, That would actually be maybe just about 1 year and 10 months if you want to write it out like that. But it would be 1.8 years. Easy. And that takes care of simple interest. I hope this was very nice for you, just as it was for me. Make sure to just subscribe and stay tuned for more.